What's going on, guys? Super Insane 18 here, and this weekend I took top 16, specifically 12th place at the Sandy, Utah Regional, running pure Snake Eye, and the deck is relatively similar to the deck profile that I already showed off. In fact, it is only 2 cards different, so we are just going to show you an updated deck profile very quickly and explain those 2 changes when we get there. And I typically don't actually show my side decks because that's something I usually reserve for Patreon, but since I actually topped the regional, I'm going to go ahead and go through the side deck choices and why I did what I did. So the profile itself is going to be relatively quick, but we will have some in-depth explanations, so let's go ahead and jump on in. And one more time before we jump into the profile, I need to give a massive thank you to the entire community in Utah that was at the regional. For those of you that haven't watched my vlog, I did accidentally leave my box on the table that I was playing at after round 3 for a solid 30 minutes, and by some miraculous miracle it was still there. Anywhere else that I've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! At, somebody would have snatched up my box and put it in their backpack and just left the venue. The deck is very expensive with all the high rarity cards and of course the bonfires and wanted engines, so thank you guys so much. The entirety of Utah, you completely mean everything to me right now. I was fully stressing out. Thank you so much for not taking my box. That shouldn't be something that I need to thank you guys on, but honestly it felt so good to get my deck back, so let's go ahead and show you guys my build. So we are playing the standard Snake Eye lineup because we are on pure Snake Eyes. So we have our 3 Ash, 2 Poplar, 2 Oak, 1 Birch, and double Flamberge. Again, just going super quickly because the deck isn't all that different. Would not have changed anything about this for the event. Everything was absolutely perfect the way that it was. We have our 3 copies of Diabellstar, the Black Witch. This is absolutely incredible and, in my opinion, necessary for the deck. I would not play less than 3 in a pure variant. We have our 1 copy of Jet Synchron. This is for the combo that enables you to go into Formula Synchron and therefore Baron. And now for the 2 cards that we changed. Previously, we were playing the 1 copy of Dramatic Chase and the Sinful Spoils Betrayal as well. We swapped those out for 2 copies of Magician Souls. Now, this is something that I want to talk about because this was absolutely MVP of the day. This card overperformed an immense amount. It functions as not only an additional extender, being able to summon itself by sending something like your Black Witch if you have an extra in your deck, but not just that, you can also summon it off of a card for 1/1, and there were several games that I just flat out won because my opponent hand trapped me 2 or 3 times and thought that I was just done. I would summon the Magician Souls, use its effect to send Flamberge that I had in my spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, get a draw, and then activate the Flamberge effect to then summon from grave, and that just let me full combo. So this card absolutely 10 times better, probably more than 10 times better than the Dramatic Chase and Betrayal, so definitely go ahead and do that. The rest of the deck is going to be exactly the same as our last profile. 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Valor. We have our 3 Wanted, our double original Sinful Spoils. This is actually very good for pure. I wouldn't recommend it if you're not in pure. If you're just running a Wanted engine, probably only 1, but pure it's really good. The 1 copy of Divine Temple of the Snake Eye, absolutely broken card. This card single-handedly won me games as well. Of course, our 3 copies of Bonfire, triple Tactics Talent at 3 as well. This card overperformed all day. Our 1 copy of Call by the Grave, 1 Monster Reborn, and 1 1/1. And finishing off the main deck, we have our 3 Impermanents. Again, we'll quickly show you guys the extra, and then we'll go more in depth when we get to our side deck. Extra deck is exactly card for card from our last build, but there are a couple of things that I want to mention when we get there. So we have our 3 Synchro Monsters in the formula, the Borreload and the Baron. Absolutely mandatory, you cannot cut these. We have our 1 Link 1 in our Link Rebo. Incredible card. Won so many games by using this to dodge hand traps. Then we have our 1 Dark and our 1 Hita. This was incredible the entire day. I was able to reborn my opponent's Witch. I was able to reborn my opponent's Ash and just completely be able to go off. We have our 1 copy of IP Masquerena and our 1 copy of SP Little Knight. Again, would not change this. We are on 1 copy of Sunlight Wolf, and the main reason you play this is so that you can use it to go into your Heat Soul. I did not make either of these at all during the entire day, so I'm not really sure if I will continue playing these. Maybe I will cut them in the future, but for now they're still there for good utility, especially because we are playing a relatively high hand trap count. So being able to just draw into like an Ash or a Valor during our opponent's turn is really strong. We have our 1 copy of Promethean Princess. This is a card that I wish I played 2 of, so if I do cut the Sunlight and the Heat Soul, I'm probably throwing in another Princess. Princess was absolutely phenomenal all weekend. On our Link 4s, we have our 1 Amblawhale, our 1 Appaloosa, our 1 Raging Phoenix, and of course the Zelantis to pair with the Raging Phoenix for the OTK. Again, really standard extra deck, exact same as our last build. Let's talk about that side deck. So if you are a longtime fan of the channel, you know that I don't typically go over my personal side decks. That is something that I like to keep as a Patreon perk, but we are going to do it since I did top the event, and I want to kind of break down the choices that I made and why I played what I played. So starting things off, we are on our 1 copy of Kurikara. This card is an incredible option going second because it is a level 1 fire, meaning that you have multiple ways that you are able to search it. You can search it off of something like your Snake Eye Ash, you can search it off of something like the original Sinful Spoils Graveyard effect, and it just comes up really, really well. There was one game where I won because I baited out all my opponent's interactions before I summoned out the Ash. And then I normaled Ash to search this because I'd already had Bonfire in hand, so I was able to Bonfire into the Populace anyway. Ash searches this, then I go ahead and get rid of my opponent's Darklaw, which is just kind of crapping on my game, and then Bonfire into the Populace and just completely pop off. This card's absolutely incredible. You don't need more than one, but I would absolutely recommend that you play it. Next up, we have 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird. This card is a little divisive right now. A lot of people are saying that this card is incredible. A lot of people are saying that it does nothing. Genuinely, I sided it in only against 2 of my matchups, and they were the Voiceless Voice matchups. Because if you know how to play into Fire King or Pure Snake Eye, you'll know that this card does nothing. You are still able to establish a full board through Droll, so this was honestly more so for Rogue than it was the meta, just because it didn't really feel all that strong, which is why I ended up cutting it to 2. I had to make room for some other more impactful cards. Moving forward, I'm not sure if I will even play it at all, which, again, sounds crazy, but when I show you guys the combo tutorial later this week, you'll see that if you Droll me, I'm still setting up my full board, and it just kind of really does nothing. So 2 was definitely okay. I don't think I would change it, honestly. We have our 3 copies of Ghost Bell. This card was incredible. Not only can it stop your Flamberge, but you are also expecting to see a lot of Labyrinth in this format, and this card does do a lot of damage to Labyrinth as well. Does a lot of damage to Fire King, being able to prevent them from summoning out the Garunix from the graveyard, so on and so forth. Incredible card, would not play less. We have our 2 copies of Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. This was a last minute addition and one of the reasons that I cut the Droll down to 2, because I needed room for Phantasme. And this card was really good going into additional fire matchups because they do summon a lot of Link monsters. I even sided it in against my Cash matchup because the Heat Soul version does summon quite a bit of Link monsters, and then it prevents them from targeting you with their card effects. Really good card. Maybe I would bump it up to 3. I'd need to test that and see how good it is, but definitely performed. Now we have our 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. The Cyclone is also one of the cards that I cut for the Phantasme, so we took out 1 Droll, 1 Cyclone for the double Phantasme. Maybe I would play 3 of this. Honestly, it didn't come up all that much over the weekend. We have our 2 copies of Lightning Storm. Incredible card. This was mostly for the Rescue Ace matchup, but I never saw Rescue Ace. It did come in handy in a couple of my matchups, though, so I would still recommend playing it. And finishing things off, we have the Anti-Spell Fragrance. Now, unfortunately, this never came up. I activated it one time during the weekend, and it was met with a Cosmic Cyclone in response. But the idea behind it was that a lot of the times you're not really going to lose if you set up your board, unless your opponent has some kind of ability to take one of your end board pieces, like a Triple Tactics talent, Change of Heart, Mind Control, whatever. That seems to be the way that a lot of players are counteracting something like an Appaloosa. So the mentality was, if I flip Anti-Spell, they can't do it and it will just seal the game. Worked out decently well. Again, like I said, it just got cycloned, but the theory is there and I think it's definitely worth playing. And there you guys have it. That is going to be my topping Utah Regional Pure Snake Eye deck list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, you know the deal. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, share with friends. As always, don't forget to check out the channel sponsor, Dueling Guard. They are responsible for that amazing deck box you saw at the beginning of the video. Using my code INSANE18, you can get 5% off your entire order. I cannot wait to see all of you guys at the 2024 World Championship qualifiers. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.